We're live. Welcome everybody here to the Lakers Lounge. I'm Anthony Irwin, joined on this fine Thursday afternoon, not by Aaron Larsoul. More on that here in a second. I am instead joined by Harrison Fagan, who, on one hand, I'm a very like regimented guy. I have kids, so I try to have control in the things that I try to have control over. But I am excited to talk to you, Harrison, because I cannot think of something that you and I are more suited to break down than Giannis Antetokounmpo's tirade through the entire Indiana Pacers organization. So that'll be coming later in the show. As you guys can again see over there on the right side of your screen, today on the show, we're going to be talking about D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reaves, and Taurean Prince as a combination. Some interesting stats from the last handful of games there as Prince has found his jumper. Apparently, like me being annoyed that the league told the Lakers that they have to fly an in-season tournament banner is apparently like an unpopular opinion. So I'm going to fight to the death with Harrison over that. And like I said, we'll talk about those power rankings. But Harrison, I promised you a story when I called you today to ask if you could swap with Aaron this week and next week. Are you ready for that story?
Do you want me to guess first what happened?
No, because I think that would lead to some problematic places.
No. I think my guess as to what happened is Aaron broke his knee again. It's unfortunate. This just keeps happening, but he just, he's just it's hard to walk downstairs for him. And so he just I think I rest up, Aaron. I know you tore both ACLs and MCLs in both your legs. But I personally
ACLs
think
too, screw it.
I think once you fully shave your head and commit to that, you're gonna look great as our Professor X on the podcast. So I'm excited for you to be back.
Yeah. So what actually happened here is I'm walking through Costco today, right? And Aaron Aaron calls me and I'm like, oh, okay, well, he's not going to be able to go today. So immediately I jump to who can I find to replace him? Like maybe I should just do a solo show and try that out and all of that good stuff. But instead I go straight to, let's see if this works. No, I don't like that one. I go straight to, well, I'll just call Harrison after I get off the phone with him. So Aaron calls me and the first thing he says is, I up, right? Like like that's how he starts the conversation. So initially I thought maybe he did hurt his knee because it sounded like he was at the bottom of his stairs. Like, he was just like
again, it keeps happening. Grandpa keeps falling down the stairs.
So I go, what's up, dude? What how is everything okay? He goes, yeah. No, I'm cooking for this charity, this foundation for unhoused people. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And he goes, so sorry, man, I'm not going to be, I have to either record in a few hours from now, or I have to record after the South Bay Lakers play tonight, but I'm not going to be able to get this thing going right away. And I'm like, oh, well, you're putting me in this unfortunate spot where I'm annoyed at unhoused people. And like I say that in
I was gonna say, when does this story get funny again? You're just making Aaron look really good. Like,
no, he does look good. He does look good throughout this entire story. But I say that
finally unleash NIMBY Anthony on air.
So I say that in the middle of this crowded Costco, and like it was funny.
And what, they all agreed with you? They're all like, yeah, no, you should be mad.
That was a part of this, is that I think I launched like a socioeconomic debate within the confines of this Costco. Because some people are like, yeah, and then the other people are like, oh my God, that guy's a monster. And mostly I agree with the second of those two groups, right? Like I do think I am a monster.
Not enough to not say it out loud or be mad, but enough to be like, well, that's the right
thing. I wasn't mad. No. Well, yeah. So I say to Aaron, I was like, you put me in this unfortunate spot where like I find myself at the, I'm annoyed at this situation that has to do with the unhoused. And like again, like he goes and he starts busting up laughing on the other end of the line. And I tell him, dude, I just said that in the middle of this Costco. And he just goes, oh my God. Wait, what happened? like, wait, how'd that go? And so that is the story behind why Harrison is here and why Aaron is not. He will be on Tuesday's episode next week and Thursday. So I'm gonna get a double Aaron week next week. And Harrison, thank you very much for hopping on here to take his place.
Aaron once again proving why he is the best person among the three of us. Like by far.
Absolutely. Yeah. Abso-freaking-lutely.
Even if his knees don't work, that's okay. He finds a way.
Well, God doesn't give.
It is ironic that I'm making fun of him with all of my physical issues that I've talked about on the show, and like I'm wearing carpal tunnel braces right now.
God. Of course, like. Today on the show, like I said, we are going to start with the D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reaves, Taurean Prince conversation again, and I'm going to start here. Right, that trio has been a bit of a disaster for the season, right? They have picked things up of late where at one point this year they were like a minus 16 as net rating earlier this year, and that is like steadily
sounds about
dropped.
Right.
Yeah. Now recently they've been playing better because Taurean Prince has been, I think his 3-point percentage is all the way up to 38% on the season now.
He guaranteed he said 100% chance he's going to shoot 40% from three.
Yeah,
he's just getting there. That's positive regression, baby.
Yeah. Well, so lately he has been this human flamethrower, and as a result, D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reaves have been actually pretty productive, right? I had it here a second ago, and now it is gone. Where is it? Oh my gosh. Well, all right. Lately they have been like, and over their last 7 games, they are a plus 16 in net rating. And over their last 10 games, they are closer to like a plus 8 or so net rating, which, if they are turning things around. Last night, I was pretty, critical of Darvin Ham sticking with that.
I was going to say a bit of a disaster is lightened criticism compared to how you were with Raj last night.
Well, so this is the thing though. And, like, I think where I'm going to wind up landing on that group, in what they can present and what they do in net is, I think that they are going to be that group that like you throw out there to see if they have it, and then you go away from, right? Like you go out there, like they are the group that, if they hit enough threes as a group and they just shoot lights out and they can shoot you back into a game or something like that. Cool. And you can kind of stick with it as you want. But as we saw last night, that group is also very capable of not defending and not making any shots. And then they're the disaster type, right? And I think they kind of, then you got to like adjust and go away from it. But I'm curious, like how you stand on things now that we have started to see Prince start to make his jumper, now that we're starting to get more guys healthy and Darvin can actually like go away from them if need be, if he does actually make adjustments. But like where do you stand on them now that we've started to see a little bit of progress?
Well, I'm debating if I should be honest or if I should just be really mean to Prince again, even though I don't feel as mean as I was the last time on the show, just because his response to that was to hit approximately, I think 74 threes against the Pelicans, is correct. I think he actually just hit another 3 against the Pelicans as we are talking right now. The score on that final score.
And if you want like any sure way into the hearts of Lakers fans, hitting all of those threes against the Pelicans of all teams is a pretty good way, right? Like,
well, yeah, maybe that's our power rankings. It's like teams that you can roast as a Lakers player that will endear you to Lakers fans. And like, obviously
Exactly.
Boston's number one, but then, we start going down the list. But, I think Prince, like you said, him making his threes, surprise, surprise, has made him look a lot more playable. I was, I was ready to drive him to the airport myself last week, before that IST game. And then since then, he has been red hot. I don't know. Has he missed more than like 5 since then? I just feel like it's been automatic,
He's been incredible.
Yeah. And so that is, of course, going to make that lineup look a little better. But at that point, is that lineup looking good because it fits well and because you think it's doing things that are going to lead to success over the long term? Or is it just sort of a, like a sort of statistical mirage where, anyone hitting threes is going to make any lineup look better. Like the 3 center lineup looked good for one game because the opponents missed some threes and the Lakers, scored pretty good in like bursts. And, this is not like breaking news or, groundbreaking basketball analysis, but hitting your threes is going to make your lineup look good. I still just, from a process standpoint, do not like that trio. I just think that there is not enough defense there. And especially when it's alongside, last night LeBron didn't play, but especially when it's alongside LeBron, where, we've seen, you and I have talked about this, LeBron's best role defensively this year is as that rover who is just like rampaging on steals off of, pressure that these other kind of long defenders are creating. There are no long defenders in that lineup, if it's alongside LeBron, unless there's Anthony Davis. But, if you're having Anthony Davis out on the perimeter trying to create turnovers, you're sort of,
then
like missing the
he's
point
not
of
on
having
the
Anthony
interior.
Davis on. Yeah, exactly. And that, so I think I just don't like that trio together. I have come around a little bit on Prince, like, in that I don't think that he should be like excised from the rotation completely, but, and Vando's obviously hurt. You guys got into that last night. He just like he looked physically limited. And so, Prince is going to have to play, but I do think that avoiding that trio together, it's just, I don't mean this in the like mentality standpoint necessarily, but that lineup is it's just soft a little bit. Those 3 guys are not going to be able to provide much resistance on the perimeter. And so you have things like the Spurs going on like a 43-18 run or whatever it was to get back into a game that should have been out of hand. And that's not all on that lineup, but anyway.
Well, they were out there.
For a good chunk of it, yeah.
And that's what I mean is that like I think they are that group that, so Malik Beasley basically functioned
they're a 3-guard lineup that we railed against all last year,
yeah.
Like really Prince is a guard, Prince is not like a bulky small forward that is going to stay in front of guys and force turnovers or whatever.
Well, and to your point, so over his last 5 games, so in December, Taurean Prince is making 55% of his 3-pointers.
No
That's
way.
Not an exact.
It's at least 75. I don't believe that number.
And he's shooting 6 of them a game, and he's making 55% of his 3-pointers in December. And over the last, over the last 10 games or so there's some overlap there, but well, I'll just look at the last 5 games while I just kind of procrastinate on getting all of this done. But like over that time, while he has been that incredible a shooter, that is where you've seen that group take off to the extent of where they are like a plus 20, I think, in net rating, which is insane for a group that gets, a decent amount of minutes together. And my only concern is Ham obviously wants that group to work, I think.
Yeah.
And the fact that he just kept going back to it, and sticks with it on nights like last night where they clearly don't have it down the stretch. My concern here is that like you always hear players talk about they actually like it when a certain player will make a jumper because it means that they're going to keep taking that jumper, Yeah. And like this is that lineup that them having some success makes me a little nervous because it means that Ham is going to play it like even more than maybe he necessarily would otherwise, and which is obviously more than he should. And I think again, as that identity that you have talked about, like what that allows LeBron defensively to be this like free safety, that identity is so functional that, okay, if you want to throw that group out there as like a curveball or as like your flamethrower, pitcher who like gosh, I'm trying to think of a pitcher who throws it really hard, but still. So for a while there, the Dodgers had a pitcher named Baez, and you would look at his stuff and you'd be like, yeah, that guy should be pretty good, right? He threw a fastball in the mid to high 90s, decent breaking ball, should be okay. But then, if you kept him in there for just a little while too long, it was like a guaranteed fiasco coming, where it isn't just that it was like a random homer. It was like an inning would take 3 hours too long and it would completely muck up the rhythm of the game, and he would get shelled and all of that stuff, and he became the super unpopular pitcher. And yet, like, anytime he had a good inning, I always found myself kind of nervous, like, oh, crap, means Dave's going to go back to him. Here we go.
Yeah.
And this is like my concern here with these guys is, yeah, they started the season really, really poorly, and we were like begging him to stop playing that group. And now they've played a little bit better. And Ham is going to take that as like, ha, see, idiots, like, and I find myself, even while I'm impressed that they have been able to turn things around, but it has taken 55% 3-point shooting from Taurean Prince to be that good. And like, eventually this is,
I'm going to go ahead and say unsustainably hot shooting. Yeah, I don't think he's going to shoot 55% on 6 attempts a game for the rest of the year.
Yeah, now he's going to regress again. And
don't prove me wrong, Taurean. I'd be really upset if you proved me wrong and you did that the whole rest of the year.
Specifically Christmas.
I would look really dumb if you just kept that up. Okay. So man, really hope you don't do that. Don't own me, Taurean Prince, please.
Yeah, I find myself basically like, I think I have found my footing on this lineup. And by the way, like, this is the whole point of the season, right? Like, this is what Raj was talking about last night, where you try these things out and you find their optimized roles, and then you slot them into those roles over the course of the season. And for me, this group shouldn't be like a starting. They were obviously poorly cast as starters. I think last night, we saw that I think they're probably poorly cast as closers too. Although like yeah, but like, in fairness, you would probably have LeBron out there for D'Lo and whatever. But I think that like where I think they'll probably most comfortably slot in as is just that flamethrower that you throw in there for inning or two and you get him out of there, because if you keep him in there just a little bit too long, things can go south in a real big way and really quickly.
And this was you actually sort of went to exactly the point that I was going to make. I mean, do you remember last year how bad the team was? And I remember this. We used so many terms as like shorthand for our sort of basketball nihilism and suffering at the beginning of the year. But one of the ones that's always stuck with me is, I don't know if Pete coined this, but he was the first one I heard use it, of the term survival lineups, where you're just playing guys like trying not to lose the game. You're like, hey, what lineup can we like throw together? This is not an optimal grouping, but it's like, it's better than the next bad grouping, it's like the best of bad options, type of thing. And this isn't that. The Lakers are obviously not that type of team this year, but this is almost like the higher class version of a survival lineup, where it's like, hey, can these guys get by? We need all these guys to play a certain amount of minutes. We know that it's not our most optimized group, but can they, in the middle of a game at some point, get like 2 shifts together, and can they just outscore teams? We've seen with the success of the Pacers that, you don't necessarily have to be a lockdown defensive team to succeed for long stretches or whatever. And so obviously I do not expect that group to start lighting it up with like the Pacers unless Taurean's shooting goes further up. But can that be a group that survives because it's good enough offensively that, bench groupings, reserve groupings can't take enough advantage of it defensively, and it just sort of gets you through the game. It's another group of guys that you can play together in certain scenarios. So, yeah, I mean, I think that is basically what they're trying to find. It's like those sort of middle of the game lineups, because we know who the closers are going to be at this point most nights, or at least we know most of them. We know who the starters seem pretty locked in at this point. And so it's like trying to find the best combinations to get through the middle of the game. And, I think that maybe they can for certain stretches against certain teams. I think there are going to be teams where it looks worse, like teams like with really good point guards, but the Spurs have I don't know if you noticed this, but a 6'9" guy who's never played point guard before playing point guard. And so that was like maybe not the most optimized to take advantage of them in certain stretches last night until down the stretch when it was like Trey Jones and, Wemby and all them.
Yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to, is that like they have to be like the circumstances for them to succeed.
Thankfully, point guard isn't the deepest position in the league,
It is wild, right? That like Wemby needs one type of player out there in order to be maximized, and Pop just like doesn't play that type of player with
They're tanking. I don't know if they realize that this isn't that good of a draft. They are determined. I don't know if they know that the lottery odds have been lowered, where it's like the lowest 3 teams. They're like, no, we have to lose every possible game that we can. I was surprised he didn't bench Wemby down the stretch for playing too well last night. I guess it's like his hatred of the Lakers overcame his insistence to tank. He's like, no, we could get these guys this time.
Yeah. I said it last night, but I feel like if Phil Jackson was having as bad a stretch as Greg Popovich is currently on coaching, there'd be a lot more people pointing it out.
Well, right? Yeah,
in national media,
but because he was always with like sort of the big juggernaut. I'm so thankful that we didn't have to watch like old losing it Phil Jackson just like try like the Zen Master things on teams that like did not want to listen to him anymore. I guess like a little bit in New York, but that was an executive, so we didn't have to see like players yelling at him on the bench or something like that, or like him just throwing out these god awful lineups. Like I'm glad that Phil went out on top.
Yeah, I would probably say so. I mean, I don't know. I hate hypocrisy, like and it's such this NBA hipster take to say that, Phil is actually not the best coach of all time. It actually has to be Pop, right? You look at the talent that Phil had, and it's like, Pop didn't exactly have nobodies.
Famously,
right?
Pop had no talent on those Spurs teams.
Well, it's also funny because they're the same people who,
other than the guys that they say are better than Shaq and Kobe, respectively, and like Harden should have been MVP or not Harden, Kawhi should have been MVP. But other than those guys, Pop didn't have that much talent.
Right? Like they always ranked him way higher than Kobe on their list, right? And yet they say that Phil had way more talent or whatever. But anyway,
Manu's better than Kobe, but Pop didn't have as much talent as Phil. All
right, before we move on, today's show is brought to you in part by Sleeper and the Sleeper app. Use that promo code LA Lounge to get up to $100 back in a first deposit match. Again, that is LA Lounge, all one word, on the Sleeper app to get up to $100 back just right off the bat. Just like fantasy sports are tough, right? Because every so often you'll have Dante Exum make 75 3-pointers against you on a random night, and your matchup is shot as a result of that. Not that anybody was probably playing Dante Exum, but regardless, every so often that happens. But it's nice to, right when you sign on to this app, you use that promo code LA Lounge and you get $100 back, up to $100 back in a deposit match. Again, Sleeper is a fantasy sports and real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world, with over 5 million active users in 2022, while earning some of the highest levels of engagement per user in the industry. At Sleeper, it's not just about sports. It's about building personal connections and lasting memories. Sleeper Picks is our real money product that connects friends over picks. Choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame, live, or even across different sports. Pick more or less than the predicted stats. On Sleeper, you can get up to 100 times payouts depending on the combination of picks that you use. So share with your friends and get rewarded together. And one more time, use that promo code LA Lounge. So if you're here on YouTube, you can't miss it. It's all over your screen right now. And if you're listening, it is LA Lounge, all capitalized and all one word on the Sleeper app. I'm Anthony at Anthony Irwin LA on there. Follow me there as well, and we can play a couple of these games together. All right. Do you play fantasy sports? Have you ever played fantasy sports?
Not daily fantasy, but I have played traditional fantasy
Season
sports
longs
in the past. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I somehow don't picture you doing that. You're such a control freak that I feel like you
that's why I
wouldn't
had to
enjoy
stop.
that.
I get too mad when I don't win, and so it's just not a healthy thing for me.
All right.
I
let's
realized
go ahead.
when I was about to fight with my dad over him beating me in the title game because he was talking trash about like how he won our championship game rebounds category because I believe it was Steve Nash, or maybe it was blocks. It was blocks or rebounds. Nash had like a career high in like the last game of the season in like blocks or rebounds or something like that, and he ended up winning the or maybe it wasn't a career high, but it felt like it to me, and he ended up winning by like 1 or 2 and in that category. And winning the matchup, and I was like, it's time for me to stop. I'm too upset about this. Wasn't even any money on the line. I was just really mad.
All right, let's go ahead and the next topic. That again, if you guys are watching on, I'm really proud of this. I designed all this crap myself. I worked on it myself. Graphic design is a passion of mine.
It looks nice. Yeah, I'm shocked that you designed this. I definitely thought that somebody sent you the template.
Today, the next topic that we're going to hit on is the in-season tournament banners. So here's Harrison where I stand on it. Right, I'm following basically the stances that the Lakers have held publicly, where in the run-up to the championship, they feel the need to leak. Hey, everybody, don't worry. We are not going to fly this thing. We are not going to break tradition. We are going to maintain the stance that the only team success that we acknowledge in crypto.com arena is championships, right? And it was funny. You responded to it on Twitter by booing on Twitter. Yes. And that's because like you are committed to the bet. And everybody at that time that I saw, all Lakers fans were like, thank God. Cool. Stick. I love it. Stick with your brand. Stick with your tradition.
I must have blocked all those people because all my replies were like, hell yeah, Harrison, get them. You got to take over the team. Start a protest.
Those were your burners that you were just replying to yourself.
No, I'm saying IST Nation, we roll strong, okay? Like this is
you and the Cam brothers, you and the Kamenetsky brothers. Andy was hot and bothered on Twitter with me today.
Good, you deserve it.
So that was the Lakers leak stance, and I believe it was Arash Markazi, who has no prior history, just copy and pasting leaks and stuff like that. But like he was, he fires off that tweet, and I see applause for it, and I said at that time, my guess is the league is going to have something to say about this, right?
Yeah. We've been saying that all along. Like if they wanted, that was our predicted outcome, was that the league was going to force them to do a banner.
Yeah. And then, a few days later, after the Lakers win the thing,
I'm pretty sure, like early on.
Yeah, no, I specifically remember this.
Yeah, okay.
You're absolutely right. Like we did say, like we laughed at it. It was like the Lakers don't fly anything other than their championship banners.
I will never forget Ben, longtime SSR writer, that has not been in quite some time, but Ben Rosales, like he did a tour of the practice facility that I think was for like season ticket holders.
Yeah.
And I would have to go find the photo again. I don't remember if they had the Western Conference Championship trophy in a broom closet or sitting next to the copier. But it was not like prominently on display. It was just like out in the office, like something that like when you just moved in or something and something you haven't like put away yet. It was clearly like not a prize.
They like apologize. It's like, oh, sorry, we left that out.
Oh my God, sorry. Just tour guide kicks it out of the way. Sorry, we were using that to keep the door open over here.
No, we usually Jerry has been throwing it all over the office, and we forgot to tell him to put it away after he was done.
Jerry West didn't even work there anymore. He was still coming in and just throwing trophies around the office.
He just walks. Hi, Jerry. Bye, Jerry.
Yeah, he just closes it through a door to exit.
So that was,
what do you think Showtime Jerry West would do if they forced him to hang if you explain the concept of the in-season tournament banner? I think winning time Jerry West would have attempted to hire a hitman to kill Adam Silver like that, or done it himself. Not real Jerry West. This is important for libel reasons. Mm-hmm. The winning time version of Jerry West.
Yeah. Who, shared some similarities.
You said it, not me.
So anyway, that was what you and I predicted like months ago when it looked like, when all of this was coming out. And that's what the Lakers felt the need to leak as it looked like they were going to win the thing. Then after they win it, the reports then surfaced that, okay, actually the Lakers are going to fly a banner, but
through approximately like 18 different leaks.
Everybody. Everybody. So like,
and
so
then a press release
leak out
2 minutes later. It was kind of weird how the timing on that worked. I don't.
Yeah, right. But
crazy,
so
they just barely beat the buzzer on that.
They in that press release and in those leaks afterward, right after they won it, they made sure to like clarify to everybody, we promise they are not going to look anything like the championship banners. They are going to be in a specific spot where the championship banners are still going to hold higher position on the wall, blah, blah, blah. Like all of these other details, like don't worry, everybody. Please don't get angry at us breaking tradition for this. And like my problem with all of this is the league basically telling the Lakers, you have to break tradition here. If the Lakers had come out before they won the thing and said, this is something that we're proud of and that we are going to, like, if we win it, we are going to fly the banner for it, then whatever. I would have felt a certain way about it, but whatever. But in this case, the league basically stepping in and telling the Lakers, their marquee franchise, what they can and cannot or have to fly in their arena, that doesn't sit well with me, especially when you consider all of the other subjects that Adam Silver has like purposely sat out because he believes
he's
in
like,
state rights.
I'm gonna let the teams deal with that one.
Right. And like that's my stance. And maybe I did a poor job of outlining that stance because like this sets a precedent, right? So right now the league is trying to, especially as it negotiates its next media deal with their prospective next TV deal partner, they are trying to showcase or show everybody, see, we promise that we can get them to care about the regular season. We promise stars are going to play in nationally televised games. We promise we're going to do all these things, right? And like, let's say that the TV partner comes back to them and says, well, okay, if the regular season actually matters, are you going to start flying, a banner for the fact that, a team won a division title? Because so long as a team and the marquee team doesn't, that might indicate to players, the season happened and whatever. And like once the league,
players are going to think regular season games aren't important. Oh no!
Right. Well, but that's the thing, though, right?
Hope they could put that cat back in the bag.
But like that's the part of this that I am bumping on. And look, full disclosure, as everybody knows, I have not cared about this thing for 1 second. I've disliked the execution of this idea, even if I think that there are some positive ideas in here that can be tweaked, and the tournament can be something to build on moving forward. In its entirety, I could take it or leave it. But this spot where the league is basically telling the most important franchise in its league what they can and cannot fly in their arena, I'm not cool with that. Like that is not something I'm all right with. Why is that an unpopular stance? Because I feel like if the Lakers had made a bigger stink of, no, this isn't our idea, the league told us to do this, I feel like everybody would be agreeing with me here.
Well, it is possible that they would be agreeing with you, but you know what most people don't do at their jobs is like make a stink publicly over something that their employer told them that they had to
That's
do.
true.
Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yeah.
think like like maybe James Dolan would have tried to sue, although James Dolan would have been happy to hang anything constituting Nick's success. So maybe this is a bad example, but you know,
You think James is like, hey, let us hang that one for you?
he's like, we got it, Jeannie. Put it up at Madison Square Garden, the world's greatest arena, filled with the most mediocre basketball team.
Yeah, the entire city of New York. It's just like
And
just
again, like
force
most mediocre
mediocrity upon
basketball team,
mediocrity on us.
yeah,
Yeah.
compared to like past Knicks seasons over the last several while, like, hey, that's improvement. Good job, Knicks. But
Yeah.
so like, I mean, that's sort of my thing is like the Lakers weren't going to release a statement that is like, hey, by the way, the league is trying to sell and monetize this thing, but we think it's really stupid, even though we just won it. And you know, advertisers take that into consideration when you're considering buying in. Like they might be able to get more money than they got off the PPP loan down the future, like if this thing gets bought from TV rights and whatever.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think the Lakers maybe, I think conceptually as an organization, they were like, you know, clearly this was not their first choice of how they wanted to do things.
Yeah.
But I also think, you know, it's like, hey, we also would like money in the league to continue to go up. And so we're going to do this thing. And, you know, it just is what it is. And like, the thing for me is like, I don't understand why it bothers people so much. You know what I mean? Like it is a different championship, you know, that they won.
Yeah.
It is like they won a tournament. It's not like, hey, we just won the most regular. It's like a different thing. They had to actually, if you watch this tournament, you saw how hard they played to go out there and win this thing. Like, I think that having a banner up like your high school gym where it just says what years you won it or whatever, like to me, that's not that big of a deal. There are much dumber banners that have hung in the hallowed, you know, the hallowed
name outside the building, for example.
Yeah. Unless they want to sponsor us, then I think it's a very cool name. I just say we will stop calling it moneylaundering.com arena.
Maybe I'll consider it. That's one of my favorite bits of all time.
We will. I probably no, don't listen to him. We will. This is really my podcast. If you and also, Anthony, what if you know, what if I told you that the banner, you know, like I actually think it's going to look really cool when they put it up and, you know, like in the background. So, you know, they said it's going to be a different size. They said it's going to be a different shape, different kind of vibe. What if they just put up this banner and, you know, that you see right behind me now. And it's like, hey,
well,
like
the Mike Trudell banner.
We're adding one more Mike Trudell for every title we win. You know, it's just for the Mike Trudell Cup. You know, it's like, hey, every time we win, just another Trudell headshot face goes on there. Then, are you back in on the banner if we do that? Sorry, there was probably a little more higher tech way to present my screen, but
I mean, you could have sent me. You could have sent me the image, and I could have just put it up in front of us. But yeah,
that's okay. No, if this was funnier.
Yeah, no. If that's what it takes to get more Mike Trudell in my life, then fine. I'm okay with it. And by the way,
and it's just a different photo every time. It's just like just different, you know, spectrum headshot photo, whatever.
Yeah. Or it could be like that thing, right? Where like for every 10 likes this thing gets, Mike Trudell gets bigger.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we make Mike Trudell bigger every year that they just post a very tiny picture of his face on it. And then every year that they win it, it gets a little bigger.
And look, I want to be absolutely clear here. Had the Lakers come out initially with the stance of we are going to celebrate this accomplishment, I would have been like, okay, fine. Like, it was an accomplishment. They beat some good teams to win this thing. They played very good basketball in winning this thing. Cool. If that was their initial stance on it, fine. But it is the league specifically stepping in here and seeming to tell them, because I haven't done any actual reporting on this, so this is all speculation on my part.
It seems like pretty solidly based speculation. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like with the league seemingly stepping in, that is the thing that I'm up against here. That is the part of this, like with, and again, when you compare it to the other issues that the league has sat out on and just said, sorry, you know, we're just going to, by the way, what's going on with the Josh Giddey investigation, right? Like we're just sitting all of this other stuff out that actually kind of matters. But
okay,
no, in this case,
is a much easier thing for them to manage, I will say, than doing that. Again, I'm not going to credit the league for a lot of how it handles these issues or whatever, but that, say what you will, they are more complicated to look into and deal with than just sending the Lakers an email. You're absolutely putting up a fucking banner signed Adam,
but this is the thing though. It is easier, and it is, it is the kind of thing that you can more easily put your foot down on because there aren't actual legal issues on this, right? But they have sat out so many more important issues that should actually be pretty easy, right? Like the fact that just today, James Johnson just got re-signed and is in the league again. You look at his criminal history, like the league just continues to step out and sit out on all of these issues where these players who have like legitimately vile allegations or actual criminal, instances in their past, teams keep taking advantage. I think the Thunder got an extra second round pick this year for trading for who was the player was it Kevin Porter Jr. from the Houston Rockets. Like these teams keep taking advantage of those criminal actions or allegations or whatever. And like the league, just anytime that comes up, Adam says, well, my hands are tied here. Sorry, everybody. But in this stupid little thing, this is the thing that they're actually willing to step in and make happen like this. That's it's an extreme stance and an extreme example on the stance or whatever. But if you're going to step in and meddle with this, then why aren't you stepping in and meddling in the more important issues facing your league? Like that's the part of this that annoys me.
I mean, if your point is all they care about is keeping the money train rolling, I mean, I agree. Like, I don't think that, I think that you're right. Like, they care about the things that make the money and whatever, and the other stuff they're happy to sweep under the rug.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
That's just unfortunate. The NBA has shown us that it is just like every other business, despite claiming that it wants to be sort of like a moral bastion or whatever.
And they're happy
league. Like they're happy to have that, get that positive coverage when it's easy, but they're not. They don't want to do the things that lead to it being that, when it's harder.
Yeah. Chucky Goldstein makes a very important case here as we awkwardly segue into a more fun portion of the show. The Lakers now are flying 18 banners. And look, you know what? That's hard to argue with. That is hard. It is one more banner than those folks in Boston. All right, let's move on to
how many in-season tournaments do you think the 60 Celtics would have won? That's basically half the Celtics title banners were in-season tournaments. There were like
actually in the knockout stages. I think there were technically more teams in the knockout stages of the in-season tournament than there were in the league when the Celtics were winning their championship.
I'm just saying, those who live in Mickey Mouse houses should not maybe throw Mickey Mouse stones.
Actually, you know what? I meant to bring this up earlier, but if I zoom back out again, there's a little bit of jewelry over your left shoulder over there that I think I want to call some attention to. Is that an Emmy?
Yeah.
Is that an Emmy?
Yeah, we finally got recognized for the show. Aren't you happy? Like,
yes, that's
Emmy-winning podcast, The Lakers Lounge.
I did this much production.
Yeah. Already, you put up one side menu showing what the topics are. This is what happens.
No, I think that's me as Emmy, right? I think that
that's me as Emmy. My wife is part of the Emmy award-winning team at Spectrum Sportsnet, and they actually won Best Game Broadcast for the Dodgers. So this is not a Lakers-related Emmy, but it is for or Sportsnet LA. I guess I should say, but they're the same company.
The Dodgers are about to appear on my power rankings, so I am cool with celebrating the Dodgers and Spectrum, and most importantly, your wife on winning an Emmy. That is legitimately
cool. My wife is an Emmy winner. So everyone watching the show, listening to it, whatever, feel free to tweet at her congratulations. She got the Emmy in the mail about 5 weeks ago, so it's going to be very confusing to her why she is getting all these ads right now, but it would be very embarrassing for her at work. So feel free to please do that.
Yes. Awesome. All right. Let's move on to the power rankings here for the last 10, 15 minutes or so of the show. Every week, Harrison and I go through things in the NBA, things in sports, things that just happen, and rank them according to what makes us laugh or makes us the happiest or whatever. I am going to start with this one because I think it is going to be a major focus of our lists. But it is this clip that took place. So last night, a little bit of backstory for those of you who live under rocks. Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 64 points and broke the Bucks single game scoring record previously held by Michael Redd. He then demanded that he get the game ball from that game and from that effort, despite shooting 30 free throws. I actually think I'm Team Pacer on this just out of principle, because 30 free throws for any single player is ridiculous. And look, there are ways that it could be handled, and there are ways that it could have, he could have gone behind the scenes and said, "Hey guys, like, do you guys mind?" And then after the game, after he got a ball handed to him by security, well, I'm not gonna spoil that, because I think that's gonna come up later in the show as well. But the reason, I think, or a reason that tensions were so high even before Game Ball Gate took place, you had this happen when Giannis got fouled. So here's a clip of it. So you see, it looks like Miles Turner, throws Giannis to the floor, and you see a scrum there on the court. I'm gonna keep playing this clip again. I want to bring some attention up to the top of the top of that image.
You got to look at Thanasis.
Where Thanasis hilariously
grabs his teammate's arm, wraps it in his own, and then starts like taking off like he is going to charge and kill everyone involved or near his brother.
Yes, it was the kind of play. So Kevin Willis, an old power forward / center in the league, who back then was like widely regarded as like the strongest player in the league. What he would essentially do is, if you were boxing him out, he wouldn't use his hands, and he would essentially pinch players' arms in at their sides so that they would become narrow and thus easier to move. And every guy who said he would do that would say, like, I felt the most useless in as I've ever felt on a basketball court or as a human being. And now it has become kind of popular for scorers, right, to sneak their hand into the interior of a defender's arm and go up through that arm to drift and get to the free throw line that way. Yeah, the Joel Embiid, the James Harden, the Trae Young. Remember when the league took that out, and then all of those guys like
cried about it, and then they put it back in? Yeah, they're like, shoot, the numbers are down.
Like Trae like legitimately short-circuited and whined about it for like a solid 2 weeks. But in this case, I'm going to play it one more time because it's just that funny.
It's so good.
Thanasis grabs. The best part is Jay Crowder's reaction to it, where like,
is that who is that whose arm he grabbed? That's hurt.
It's Jay Crowder. It's Jay Crowder.
Oh, is it? Okay, it's Jay Crowder. Yeah, I couldn't read.
So the best part about it is like you can kind of watch as Thanasis grabs his arm and runs to the court. Jay's like head snaps back. He goes like, "Whoa!"
He's so instinctive that he feels the contact things. Like, gotta draw the foul.
Yeah. but that to me leads the way on the funniest thing I have seen since the last time you and I did this. Harrison, what's first on your list?
Yeah, so I mean, I just having to put this together in like really quick, just in my brain, because
that's why I went long, because I didn't ask you if you were. I went long on the first one.
But I am prepared. With the 5 funniest fight fallout moments of the week, and number 5 on my list is I don't know if you saw this, but on Bally Sports, the Pistons broadcast was cutting away after their 274th consecutive loss, or whatever it is, and you see like the players are all looking sad. James Wiseman just looks dispirited, and then you have one child just going to town punching another child's arm as they're going to their final commercial break for no reason. I have no idea what these children are fighting over. The child
I can't believe Jaden Ivey would do that to Cade. I like, it's crazy that things are really dire.
I would explain why Monty Williams just doesn't play him. He's like, no, he keeps punching Cade on the bench. I don't know. But for those of you, if you have not seen it, it is fantastic. It is. It made me laugh very hard last night when they're like, the children are fighting. Like,
things are so bad on the court that they had to like present some fight in the arena. All right, the next top thing from the last couple of weeks is the fact that the Los Angeles Dodgers signed Shohei Ohtani, which is in and of itself great, right?
Yeah,
but the amount
pretty great top thing.
the part of it that I have found the most amazing, and the part of it, because I am at my very core a troll. My favorite part of this is all the whining that non-Dodgers fans have done.
Deferred money. Yeah,
I can't believe the union should step in. Yes, that's what the union needs to step in on, is the fact that this guy is going to, after he retires, net himself $700 million or $680 million for the next 10 years or whatever it is. I don't think they care so much about a guy getting paid like that, so long as he gets his money. That has been, and the fact that they might use that money and turn around and sign Yamamoto, like that would be incredible as well. But yes, my second favorite thing here over the last couple of weeks has been all of the whining and bickering and moaning and all of these things from non-Dodgers people about the way that the Dodgers just broke the sport by, checks notes signing a good baseball player. That is the crime.
Also, hey, great news for Christian Wood. Didn't get dropped down a rank on highest paid athletes in Los Angeles. He is going to continue to be ahead of Shohei Ohtani for the next year.
Yeah,
so that's big for him. I saw that and I was like, what? I don't follow baseball obviously all that closely. I'm a very casual fan, and I saw like all the salary stuff coming out and was just flabbergasted that this is like allowed. Like, this just seems like weird cap circumvention, but like, I'm not mad about it or whatever. It's just fascinating to me that that's how their sport operates.
Well, so like, it's still technically a $46 million a year cap.
Yeah, it's a 40. I thought it's a 46 cap.
And there's all these other like intricacies of it and stuff. So it's not as ridiculous as it was like initially reported or whatever. But that hasn't stopped anybody from whining about a team in LA getting something to go their way. Like, that's a tradition unlike any other.
And look, I get it. Like, you get the in-season tournament, you get Shohei Ohtani. Like, how much winning does one city really deserve in 24 hours?
More.
That's like
more and more. That should be the next banner that the Lakers fly, is the Dodgers signing Shohei Ohtani to that deal. Let's make it more ridiculous. All right, what's your next one? This would be your second.
Yeah, this is my number 4. Number 4 for me was, I don't even know if this quote is real, so I apologize if I'm spreading misinformation, but I saw there was someone, apparently Giannis gave a quote to Eric Name of The Athletic that he says he doesn't think the ball that was given to him after the Pacers' 64-point fracas was the right one. And I love that so much. Like, he's that's how you know. Like, everybody accuses Giannis of like having no skill, no bag, whatever. That's how you know he's a real hooper. He's like, this is not the ball that I had for all 30 of those free throws.
So last night
I don't know if that's real. I could have been got by a fake account, but
I saw it too.
So funny. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So last night, this was all going down, the fight between the Pacers and the Bucks. Well, technically Giannis and the Pacers. Like,
Thanasis
this
and
was
Jay
all
Crowder's arm.
That dude, like, how are you even bad at that job too? Right? Like, that's the whole point of you being on the roster. Is
work on the acting. Like, come on, dude.
What would have been great?
Times to be the hold me back guy.
So they kept on, like, they were actually holding him back, right? Because if you go onto the court in the middle of a scrum or whatever, you get suspended. You know what would have been great is if the Bucks were all like, "You're good. Go ahead, dude." Like,
Like, oh no, Thanasis, don't get suspended. That'll leave us in a tough spot. Oh no, ownership won't have to pay your salary for 2 games. Oh no.
Right. Like, I don't know. Mark Lazary isn't their owner anymore. I forget who.
You think he's like, you think their owner
he's
is like
shoving Thanasis like onto the court? Like,
yeah, their owner is like telling the coaches, it's like, hey, look, you get a bonus if you let Thanasis onto the court next time.
Or if you get him onto the court.
Push him on there.
But no, that was so all of this was going on last night as Raj and I were recording, and I said like there are upwards of, and I said like 50 basketballs in that arena at any time on a game night. It's probably double that, like more than I think about it, with all of the shooting and the other team's basketballs and all that stuff. And so I just said, like I said on the air last night, I was like, they could just give him any ball. Like, you could give Shibwe any ball for that one. Who do you think deserves the basketball more there, Giannis or the guy who scored his first points as an NBA player?
Yeah, I think you got to give I think you got to give it to Oscar. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, and I don't want to butcher it.
I listened to Rick. I listened to Rick Carlisle say it last night.
Okay. Yeah. I just love that we got a separate Woj tweet that this isn't in my power rankings, but it's the Pacers gave Oscar Shibwe a replacement ball to commemorate his first NBA points. So good. I love this stupid league. Yeah, I hope, like, again, who knows if Giannis got the real ball? I hope they gave him the fake one. That's so funny if they gave him a fake ball. Just like, that's peak pettiness. I don't care. I know people were calling the Pacers corny. I don't care. That's so funny if they gave him a fake one after all that.
So,
but then wasn't it like the security guard, the own Bucks security guard got the ball or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
This whole thing is so.
That's what Miles Turner said. He did. The guy who got the ball was wearing green. Like, the Pacers don't wear green. Like,
yeah.
All right. So my next thing on my list, and I think it's basically other than the Shohei thing, I'm just gonna keep breaking down portions of this Bucks basketball gate. Last night, as again, all of this is playing out. So on November 12th, the Indiana Pacers tweeted out a video of Oscar Shibwe like talking about his path to the NBA, right? It's like this 2-minute long thing. It's like this, like they play sappy music in the background of it. It is legitimately like a really cool story, a really cool like anecdote from him. So the tweet on November 12th reads: Oscar Shibwe moved to the United States from the Democratic Republic of Congo as a teenager to pursue his basketball dreams. After starring at Kentucky and being named the unanimous National Player of the Year, he went undrafted in this summer's draft. Last night, he finished with 33 points and 23 rebounds in his first professional basketball game, becoming the first player in Mad Ant's history to record 30-plus points and 20-plus rebounds in a game. His mentality is something everyone should hear, and that's where they play the clip. And so last night, as everything is going on, they quote tweet that. This is the Pacers official account. Quote tweets that with Oscar Shibwe moved to the United States from the Democratic Republic of Congo as a teenager to pursue his basketball dreams. Tonight, he realized his dream of playing in the NBA and scored his first career point. That is amazing. That is just very, very, very social media-ing from their official account. And that ends this point. My favorite point of all of this is going to come next, but that is one of my favorite tweets of all time from an NBA team.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously that's great for him. It's just I cannot imagine that he would have guessed that his first points would have come, with such controversy. Like multiple newsbreakers breaking it down like it was the Malice at the Palace. Like,
no, I love the image of, and even if this is like borderline cruel or whatever, but he's sitting there like they hand him the ball. He's like, "Wow, thank you guys. This is amazing. Thank you for my basketball to commemorate this moment where I capped off the efforts that it took to get to the NBA all the way from the Democratic Republic of the Congo to get here. Wow, this is incredible." What? Oh, you're taking that one? Oh,
It's a
okay.
replacement ball. Oh, okay.
I'm getting another.
But
one.
it is to commemorate my point, so that's the same thing. I don't,
Did Giannis sign it? Did Giannis? All right. What's your next one here?
All right. So my number 3 was maybe.
Oh wait, you just went. That was your number 3, right? Or no?
No, that
You
was
went
your
number 3. We had the same one,
yeah.
and I did number 2. Okay. All right. Cool.
Okay. So yeah, my number 3 is the quote of the season so far. It is Yusuf Nurkic of Draymond Green after his clutch agency mate attempted to do the very known basketball move of a pirouette with your arms up spinning around. Like lots of basketball players do this, totally normal body motion, and then struck him in the face. Again, Draymond, it's not his fault he can't control his limbs. Okay, he's just a professional athlete. What do you expect him to have coordination? Like, come on.
Yeah. I love Network tweeting out, like, I love that Draymond Green talks about these moments as if he did them in werewolf form.
Yeah. He does go Hulk smash. And and just Yusuf Nurkic saying that brother needs help.
Yes.
And then the NBA deciding,
led to an incredible meme. Yeah.
You're right. We're gonna get him some help, Yusuf. We needed somebody. We needed somebody to diagnose this for us. I appreciate your
the tweet that's become a meme, right? Men will literally do X to avoid getting mental help. It's like men will literally punch a 7 foot tall
in the face
human being to avoid getting help. Amazing comment here from Yuman Andufor. As an African, I'm ashamed of that player. 1 point. Plus, Giannis is also African.
I don't know if I'm allowed to laugh at that.
I'm laughing. My favorite thing though from that night or from last night is that technically Shibwe had scored before. The problem is that 1 point came in the in-season tournament final, and that doesn't count towards official record.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's on the Pacers. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God. They should see if they can get him that ball back from LeBron. Just be like, LeBron, come on.
That was like I was already just reeling at the amount of
if you've scored less than 10 points in your career, your stats from the in-season tournament final should count towards the regular season.
They should just count. I don't know why they don't count.
That's your reward. You just get to rack up an extra game of stats. I don't know. Like that's
Like I saw, was it you that made the point that or maybe it was Sabrina that all right, that game is essentially extra credit, and if you win it, you have an extra win on your season tally, and that's like an extra tiebreaker. Like that should just count. Like
I love that. That sounds like that's definitely a Sabrina idea, though. I've never thought about that in my life. For me, the glory of the cup was enough. I didn't need extra incentives.
But yeah, that was just that was a thing. The meme of Vince McMahon where he leans further in his chair, learns something you say. And then finally just falls over. That was me when I saw that he had technically scored before, but it didn't count. And all of this was over nonsense because he didn't have a basketball from the game that he actually scored his first NBA points in. Is just chef's kiss.
It's also look, I get why Giannis wanted the ball. You want these keepsakes from your career, whatever. Dude. You've just buy it from him or something. It's you have had bigger moments in your career than this. I know that you've never scored more points, but you've had bigger things. You should not be ready to fight the entire Pacers organization for this game ball.
That's the thing, is that there are just so many better ways of going about this. And also, what happens if he scores 65 in a game?
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing, I guess.
Well, he scores 65 in this game. Does he give that ball to Shibwe?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's just I love this league. It's so dumb. Wait, so then do you already gave your number 2?
That was my number 1 because you and I tied on the last one. So you have one more to go.
All right. So no, I had 2 more.
Okay, you have 2 more.
All right, so I'll go through them quickly, but number 2 for me was 50 Cent's Instagram. He posted a video of Draymond saying with the laughing emoji, "This fool is my favorite basketball player. WTF is wrong with him. That was a mistake. I will apologize for him. Come on, it's a physical game." At Branson Cognac, at I don't know what the second ad is. But he tagged a Cognac account. So I guess this is like a sponsored post
Okay,
for
sure.
50 Cent. And then Yusuf Nurkic commented on this video of 50 Cent basically saying that he didn't deserve a suspension. All he did was punch Yusuf Nurkic in the face. And he comments on this with, "Go shorty, it's your birthday." So Yusuf Nurkic did not realize was this funny. I owe you an apology. I was not familiar with your game. I actually do not like your basketball game very much.
No.
But respect to your off-court game. This has all been very funny. And then number 1 was everybody's familiar, with the meme of Adam Silver saying, "Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy." When a player's playing bad, or like, "Get ready to learn trampoline, buddy." If you're going to slam ball, or get ready to learn Detroit, like if you're about to get traded to the Pistons.
Shouts to Kofi.
All these offshoots of it. But my favorite variant of this meme so far has been the one in the aftermath of Draymond getting the punishment where they're like, "You got to meet like therapy and suspension criteria." And it's just the same picture of Adam Silver. And it says, "Get ready to learn the depths of your feelings, the origins of your outbursts, and useful tools to prevent negative events like this in the future, buddy."
Buddy.
And I hope that is how Adam Silver actually delivered that, because I will say, as somebody who goes to therapy, I find it very helpful. You will learn all of these useful tools to prevent yourself from like yelling at your dad over a fantasy football league or fantasy basketball league, or all of these things. So I personally am happy for Draymond that he's getting ready to learn therapy language, buddy. I really hope that this does not backfire when he starts weaponizing therapy language on the court to like make players feel bad more like effectively. But fingers crossed that's not how this one turns out.
Yeah. What happens if Draymond comes back from therapy like a worse player because he doesn't play with that same edge?
He's just like so zen,
He's just like,
what if he starts shooting? What if he starts shooting 45% from the field? He's just like so calm.
All that was holding
he's like
back.
A laser 3-point shooter now. And you just look back on like all the Warriors runs, and it's like, oh my God, like how much better could they have been if he would have just chilled?
The backpack that it looks like he wears while he shoots was actually his like inner turmoil, and he just sheds.
What's funny is like, my therapist once made the analogy of like, your problems that you're carrying around with you. It's like a backpack full of rocks, and like maybe that's what Draymond had this whole time. Just
because like I don't know if you ever watched Major League 2. Did you ever watch that one, or are you familiar with the Major League movies?
Yeah. I only
Pedro Serrano from the first one, right?
Yeah.
So in the second one, he comes back and studies Buddhism, and so he comes back and he's like this super peaceful dude, but he forgets how to hit because it's like in the first one, he's like obviously prays to that little figurine, right, the Jobu figurine. And that first one, he's like this super like mean and intimidating guy. And in the second one, he comes back, he's like super delightful. Somebody strikes him, I was like, "Ooh, great curveball you threw there!" Like it's just. So I just picture Draymond coming back and somebody scoring on him, or like a referee makes a bad call, and he's just like, "You know what, man, get me next time."
He's like, "Hey, I make mistakes in my job too. It's all right."
Oh man, I love this stupid league. All right,
when Draymond tries to explain to us how he has conquered mental health and how all of your problems are in your head on his podcast, it's going to be an all-time moment.
They have to, right? Like Headspace, or what's the Calm app? They have to sponsor his podcast from here on out.
No, so he already did a meditation session series with Amazon, apparently.
Of course, sure, yeah. But I'm saying whoever does marketing for any of those companies, they need to.
Oh, they're all competing for him right now. Yeah,
it has to. Like this is a huge opportunity for any of those apps. And whatever.
They do this big marketing campaign around his comeback, and then he punches someone 3 games in again. Like, well, didn't listen to my comments before this game.
I guess that is the downside, right?
Like, yeah, that's the risk for them, I would say. They're like, so you're going to do it again? No, really, Draymond. Like, we don't.
Yeah. It's like when Chuck lost all that weight for Weight Watchers or something like that. And then like got off him. He's like, that sucked. They paid me good, but that sucked.
Yeah. It was
I want to gain my weight.
You know? Yeah.
All right. That is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge. We will be back tomorrow for our happy hour, our Friday happy hour, heading into the game that the Lakers play against the Spurs later tomorrow night. We will be doing sleeper picks as well, and I'll just throw that graphic up here one more time. Again, that is the Sleeper app. Use the promo code LA Lounge to get up to $100 back in a first deposit match. Terms and conditions apply. See sleeper.com/terms/referrals for details, and also play responsibly. And yeah, Harrison, this has been fun. Thank you very much for being for being flexible. Thank you, Aaron, for taking care of the unhoused in the greater LA area. And thank you to everybody in Costco who might still be fighting over the comment that I made over the phone to Aaron when he told me about his taking care of the unhoused. Until tomorrow, I'm Anthony Irwin. That was Harrison Fagan, and this has been the Lakers Lounge.